Hello, everyone, and welcome into the fantasy football universe. This is Aaron St. Denis at FFMadScientist, joined today by Jeremy Shulman at FF_Rebel and Jesse Moeller at JMoeller05. Today, we are here for another 2024 rookie sneak peek. This one is UCF wide receiver Javon Baker, who has been a huge riser lately with Jalen Wright, who we just wrapped up not that long ago. This one was written by Jeremy, correct?
Yes, sir.
If you want to see his full write-up, head over to fantasyfootballuniverse.com. Let's get into it. 4-star recruit from Powder Springs, Georgia. That sounds like a made-up place in a Cars movie. Anyways, Baker strung back-to-back impressive seasons together to finish his high school career at McEachern High School, committing to the University of Alabama upon graduation. As a member of the Crimson Tide, he barely made a mark. After playing in 19 games and recording just 9 total receptions, Baker entered the transfer portal in 2021 and finished out his collegiate career as a Knight. At the University of Central Florida, he put together 2 impressive seasons, finished his UCF tenure with 108 receptions, 1,937 yards, and 12 touchdowns across 27 games, earning first-team All-Big 12 as a senior. Baker is a nice combination of size and speed and should operate as an all-around weapon and depth receiver at the next level. What jumped out off the page here for you first, Jeremy?
Yes, the production. The fact that he couldn't get on the field in Alabama and then all of a sudden goes to UCF and pops off. That's great to see on one hand because you like to see the production. On the other hand, the fact that he couldn't break through at a top institution, right? Alabama is kind of a good litmus test for your average NFL team. And if he's not, doing big things there to the extent that he had to transfer out, that's a bit of a concern. So really, it's the production on both ends.
How about you, Jesse? What jumped out to you?
Yeah, that's the first thing you're going to notice, right? And this is the Alabama wide receiver room. That's not the super stacked Alabama wide receiver room. It's the Jamison Williams, John Mechie, like Ja'Cory Brooks, those type of guys. So the fact he was basically able to not do anything his first 2 years is definitely a red flag. You're like, what was preventing you to being the successful wide receiver that you were at UCF and like doing that at Alabama? And sometimes guys just need to change. And he took the change, went over and like turned his career around and became a good NFL wide receiver that we're talking about as possibly being like a day 2, day 3 pick. So like, congrats on him for doing that. But you do wonder like why it took him so long to get going as a player.
Yeah.
All righty. He is 6'1", 208 pounds, 22 years old as a senior. As we said, 2 years at Alabama, 2 years at UCF. Getting into the scouting report, some strengths: excellent body control, spatial awareness, and ball tracking ability. Strong at the catch point with a nice ability to high point the football. Violent breaks when route running, which can work to create separation. Crisp route running ability. He is elusive in the open field, creating plenty of yak opportunities. Works nicely to ad-lib and find the open space in coverage. What jumped off the page here as his best strength, Jeremy?
Yeah, he's a good all-around guy. There's a lot to like, but one of those big things is that top bullet point there is that he's just the adjustments to the football, his ability to just get 1 foot in bounds, his ability to kind of, quickly pivot and turn his hips and shoulders. I mean, all of that was pretty impressive. He can sometimes be labeled as a contested catch guy. I just think he's really good in those situations, and those situations kind of pop up on tapes and highlight reels a lot. He also has the ability he's an elite separator, but he can get separation with his route running alone. But yeah, it's his body control for me.
How about you, Jesse?
Yeah, I think like you're hitting on, like he needs that to succeed because like we talk about the separation, it's nowhere near a strength for him. Like a lot of times he has to win those contested catch situations because he's putting himself in that situation. And kudos to him for winning those contested catches or having the body control to come down the sideline. Like those are traits you like to see from an NFL player. But it's kind of like he's forced to do that because he's lacking in other areas. So like the fact he does it's a plus, but like because he's doing it the way he's doing it, like it's more of a like an in between for me, I guess you could say.
I've never heard that before. He's great at contested catches because he frequently screws up and puts himself in contested catches. It's like saying he's a great tackle breaker mainly because he's too slow and has to break tackles. So.
The one thing I will say about that, and while that's true and that showed up a lot on his tape, he went to the Senior Bowl and he was just torching guys, right?
Mhm.
So he was showing that he can separate. Now, can he do that consistently, or was he just like on his like week long, best case in his career sort of scenario there? We don't know, but he looked great at the Senior Bowl running routes to me.
All right, some weaknesses here. Tends to catch the ball with his body despite having good hands. Worked out really well for Quentin Johnston. Lacks elite speed. Tape showed consistencies in his ability to separate and run routes. What was his biggest, if I can't talk, what is his biggest weakness, Jeremy? If I knew what the hell I was saying.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be burning NFL DBs deep. That's kind of a bit of a concern, but it's also the fact that, he needs to be catching the ball with his hands. I don't know why he was letting the ball get into his body as much as he did in the limited tape that I watched of him. He has a lot of really good traits, but for me, that's just going to be a real problem at the next level if he can't clean that up.
How about you, Jesse? What was his bigness, weakness, whatever the fuck I say?
The bigness, weakness is a big one. Yeah, like that.
Apparently, it's his bigness, weakness. I don't know.
Guys that like body catch, like they could fix that at the NFL level with proper coaching. So I'm not too worried about that. Obviously, you want guys that are professional catchers that come in, they hand point it and do that. Not everyone does that. That's not like how they room. And sometimes that has to do with the wide receiver rooms they were in, who was teaching them talent and stuff like that. But he has the talent to win. So like, I'm not worried about that aspect. For me, it's literally the separation because he seems to rely on the contested catches. And like when I was watching his tape, I was like, dude, just get the space. You wouldn't need to make this a contested catch. And that's the thing that I keep driving home is like, that needs to get cleaned up. If you're turning into a more fluid, smooth route runner, like it makes your life so much easier. So like, I do wonder if that is able to change. Because if he doesn't change that, it's going to be a problem with the NFL level.
You know what he reminded me of? Young Shaquille O'Neal. Hear me out. Those times where Shaq would be cherry picking and they throw him the ball wide open on the fast break. And instead of speeding up and do it, he would wait for everyone to catch up and be like, I'm just going to wait so I can dunk on this motherfucker. That's what he does. He just waits so he can just outman this guy and then look at him and be like, I out-muscled you, buddy. But he shouldn't have had to. He should have been wide open. So
it's like Pacheco when he chooses to purposely run over guys when he doesn't need to. It's like, I'm going to go hammer this dude.
I think
problem was he couldn't do it in the SEC. So that's your big red flag right there.
Pickens does the same thing sometimes too, where he's like, I'm just going to make a really cool highlight reel contested catch. Didn't really need to, but sure, why not? Let's move on here. You have him going in the 5th round to the Los Angeles Rams. Why don't you tell us what your thought is there? Look at another one like sorry to interrupt, where he's just gotten like draft Twitter has hyped him up so much. He's gone from 450 to inside the top 200. Sorry, go ahead, Jeremy.
It's the contested catch highlight reel that came out at the end of the season, probably. But
he's George Pickens 2.0. Oh my god.
No, but the thought was exactly this was twofold. First of all, he's not great at creating separation on his own, so let's let Sean McVay do that for him, number one. And then number two, I wrote a lot here about Calvin Johnson, not because he reminds me at all of Calvin Johnson, but just because Matthew Stafford is in LA, and Matthew Stafford had that YOLO ball trust with Calvin Johnson that, for Baker to succeed, he's going to need to develop that YOLO ball trust with a quarterback. Who better than Matthew Stafford to develop that trust with?
I thought you were comparing him to Calvin for a second.
Not at all.
No, I only thought, I swear, yesterday or the day before, someone in one of the videos, not us, on another show, compared Calvin to someone in this class, and they were like, dude, that guy's 5'9". Calvin was like 6'4". What the fuck are you doing? What? Yeah, no, it wasn't Calvin, but it was someone like, it might have been McConkey. And they're like, how does McConkey give you Megatron vibes?
Oh, I can't stand people.
Like, he was the most dominant receiver of a generation, and you want to compare him to an undersized slot receiver? What did you see? Like, McConkey was he standing on a ladder when you compared the two? Like,
incredible. That's like saying Devon changed Derrick Henry. Like, get the fuck out of here with that. It's like, come on, dude.
Listen, I mentioned Calvin Johnson in this write-up just for that YOLO ball comparison, and I immediately regretted it. So it is what it is. People are just going to hear Calvin Johnson. Oh, yeah,
He's Calvin. Okay, so we should cut that and put that out and be like, he's Calvin Johnson 2.0.
Absolutely. Please cut that for our TikTok and Instagram and only cut out where he compares him to Calvin Ridley.
There is no way that Javon Baker is Calvin Johnson. There you go.
All I'm going to do is edit it to him saying Javon Baker is Calvin Johnson. That's all we're doing. We're going to edit that and post it on our TikTok. So how about you, Jesse? Where do you see him going? Do you think he's a Hall of Famer like Calvin Johnson? Or is it just Jeremy?
You know, maybe we'll say he could maybe make the team like the pro Hall of Fame thing they have for each team, right? Whatever it is, it's like the Ring of Honor.
Make the All Pro Hall of Fame team. Is that what you just said?
He's gonna be a fucking legend. Let's just
high praise here.
2,000 yards as a rookie. He's breaking the record, most yards of all time. We're going for it. 150 catches. We're just going big fun with it. Yeah, like I think he has traits that are nice. Like if you look at his yak production profile, it's insanely high because he had 2 long yard catches, so it's not as good as we think it is. But with someone that is a capable NFL quarterback like Stafford, like I love that fit because Stafford doesn't matter where the wide receiver is. If he has an inch, he's going to bomb that ball to them. So I think he fits with a strong arm quarterback because like we talk about the lack of separation. If you have a strong arm quarterback, they can feed you in like wherever you need it to go. So like obviously I don't really want to put him in Green Bay because they have a bajillion wide receivers there, but someone like Jordan Love, another place like that where the NFL quarterback has the skill set. He's like, don't worry. Like I think another place would be Herbert to Los Angeles because they need wide receivers that can do what he does at the level. So, and Herbert has an absolute cannon. So I think that's another good for him as well.
All right. I love it. That concludes the 2024 rookie sneak peek for UCF wide receiver Calvin Johnson. For the full write-up of him, head over to fantasyfootballuniverse.com or check back tomorrow for the latest video. For Aaron, Jeremy, and Jesse, thank you all for tuning in to the Fantasy Football Universe. We will see you tomorrow.